They say you're never truly alone in your own home. I used to laugh at that until I learned the truth. Someone had been living inside my walls for months, watching me. It started small, with things that were easy to dismiss. Random items going missing, a carton of milk from the fridge, batteries from the remote, even a few of my socks. I figured I was just forgetful. I was working long night shifts and sleeping at weird hours, so my brain was completely fried. But then I started smelling cigarette smoke. It was strong and stale, like someone had been chain smoking in a closed room. The thing is, I don't smoke, and I live alone. One night, I found a small pile of ash in my kitchen sink. That's when the first real shiver of unease went down my spine. It wasn't just me being forgetful anymore. My house was built in the 1950s, had old floors, thin walls, and was always making noise. But lately, the sounds were different. I'd hear scraping, soft thuds, and sometimes a cough. It was faint and muffled, like it was coming from just behind the drywall. I tried to tell myself it was rats, or maybe raccoons had gotten into the crawl space. I was desperate for a rational explanation. But one night, curiosity got the better of me. I pressed my ear against the living room wall, held my breath, and listened. I swear I heard breathing. Slow, shallow, and undeniably human. I started locking every single door and window before I went to bed, obsessively checking them twice. But it didn't stop the weirdness. I'd wake up and find things moved around, a dining chair pulled out from the table, the TV on a screen of static, cabinet doors left wide open. One morning, my toothbrush was wet. That was unnerving enough, but what I found on my phone sent me into a full-blown panic. In my photo gallery, there was a picture I didn't take. It was a blurry, poorly lit photo of my own bedroom, taken from a strange angle. From just above my bed, looking down at me while I slept. That's when I decided to get serious. I ordered a set of hidden cameras and set them up all over the house. The next day, after my shift, I nervously sat down at my laptop and started reviewing the footage. For the first few hours, it was just me, tossing and turning in my sleep. Then, around 3:40 a.m., I saw it. A shadow detached itself from the ceiling. A figure crawled out from an air vent near the corner of my room. It was a man, horrifyingly thin and covered in filth, moving silently on all fours like an animal. He dropped to the floor and walked straight to my bed. He just stood over me, watching me sleep for almost 5 minutes. Then, as quietly as he came, he crawled back into the wall. I froze, my blood turning to ice as I watched the screen. Every sound, every missing item, every strange smell I'd ignored for months suddenly crashed together, making a terrifying kind of sense. I called the police immediately. My voice was shaking so hard I could barely get the words out. They arrived and searched the attic, the basement, every closet, and even the crawl spaces under the house. They found nothing. Not a single sign of forced entry or anyone else being there. They suggested maybe it was an old recording on the camera's memory card, or maybe one of my friends was playing a cruel prank. They were polite but skeptical. But that night, when I got home from the station, the cameras were gone. Every single one, and scrawled on the wall near my bed in thick black marker, were the words, "Stop recording me." I barely slept for the next few nights, jumping at every creak and groan of the old house. Then, one evening, while I was trying to distract myself with the TV, I heard a loud thud from behind the living room wall. It was heavier than before, followed by a series of ragged, wet coughs. I grabbed a heavy flashlight from the drawer and walked over to the wall. I pressed my hand against it. It felt hollow. My eyes scanned the area, and I noticed the wallpaper near the baseboard was peeling, like it had been touched or pushed on constantly. My heart pounding, I pulled the paper back. Behind it was a small, removable vent covered just big enough for a person to crawl through. A foul smell hit me instantly, rot, stale sweat, and something metallic. As I stared into the pitch-black opening, I saw movement. a hand reaching out from the darkness. I screamed and ran out of the house, dialing 911 again as I sprinted across my lawn. This time, they found him. A man in his 40s, pale, emaciated, and covered in filth, huddled inside the narrow crawl space that connected the attic to the hollow walls of the house. He had a dirty sleeping bag, a collection of stolen food wrappers, and a stack of photos of me printed out from my social media profiles. The detective told me he'd likely been living in there for at least 3 months. He would crawl out when I was at work, and sometimes while I slept. They took him away that night. I sold the house a month later and never looked back. But sometimes, even now, in new apartments and different cities, I still hear noises, little thuds in the walls. A faint whisper of breath when I think I'm alone. I tell myself it's nothing, just old pipes. But deep down, I know what it sounds like when someone's living where they shouldn't be. Check your walls. Thank you so much for watching. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more unsettling stories. Stay safe out there.